Dr. Eggman is one of the best villains in gaming history, but what if I told you that he wasn't meant to be evil? Before the mustache and machines, Eggman's original design was something very different. A chubby old man in pajamas, meant to be the hero of the game that would eventually become Sonic. That's right, Eggman was almost the main character. Instead of being the protagonist, he was repurposed as the villain, a stark contrast to Sonic's sleek and modern design. In 1991, with Sonic's first game, Eggman would make his official debut, cementing his status as a legendary villain. His machines were comically oversized but easily destroyed, and every time Sonic defeated him, he just ran away in frustration. Eggman was the perfect foil to Sonic. Where Sonic wanted everyone to be free, Eggman was obsessed with controlling everything. But in the 90s, games weren't enough. Sonic and Eggman would soon make the jump to cartoons. 1993 brought us Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and with it, the silliest version of Robotnik we've ever seen. This Robotnik was more of a Saturday morning cartoon clown. He constantly screamed at his two idiotic henchmen, Scratch and Grounder, and threw temper tantrums when his plans failed. This show also gave us some of the most legendary Eggman moments in meme history, including the infamous Pingas clip. But if Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog made him a laughingstock, the other Sonic cartoon in 1993 went in the complete opposite direction. Sonic Sat-Am gave us the most terrifying version of the character yet. In Sat-Am, Robotnik wasn't a joke. He was a tyrant who had already won. He had taken over the world, turned innocent people into mindless robots, and ruled with an iron fist. This Robotnik was a dictator, a monster, and a genuinely frightening presence. His roboticization process was nightmare fuel, turning Sonic's friends into emotionless machines. If you crossed him, you were either roboticized or eliminated. And while Sat-Am was canceled, this dark, ruthless version of Robotnik would live on in the Archie comics. This version of Eggman was one of the most dangerous threats Sonic ever faced, but he was actually defeated and killed by Sonic in the incredible climatic arc of issue 50. The modern Eggman we see on Archie is actually an Eggman from another dimension, completely separate from the original classic version. In 1996, the Japan-exclusive Sonic OVA introduced one of the strangest versions of Eggman ever. Instead of just conquering the world, this Eggman had a new goal. He wanted to get married to the president's daughter and create a happy family with Metal Sonic as his son. Of course, his wedding plans failed, and he was back to being the humiliated villain we all know and love. While Sonic OVA never got a sequel, in 1998, Eggman would get his most dramatic redesign ever. With the release of Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast, Eggman received his first full 3D redesign. Now, Eggman had longer limbs, a sleeker jacket, and a more menacing presence. This was the first time players saw him as a serious villain with major ambitions. He was out to build the Eggman Empire. This was also the first time we got to see Eggman fail in a truly personal way. His master plan falls apart, chaos turns against him, and in the end, he's forced to flee as Sonic and the others save the world. Adventure made it clear that Eggman wasn't just a joke villain anymore. He was a fully fleshed out character. His ambitions were bigger, his failures were more impactful, and his rivalry with Sonic had never felt more personal. Adventure 2 took all of that and turned it up to 11. Also, for the first time ever, he was fully playable. This game gave Eggman one of his greatest victories ever. He successfully takes over the world by hijacking the Eclipse Cannon and blowing a massive chunk off the moon. Eggman pissing on the moon became a legendary internet joke, but the actual scene was one of Eggman's most terrifying displays of power. His rivalry with Sonic also became more intense than ever, as he nearly kills Tails and Amy just to lure Sonic into a trap. He launches Sonic into space, fully expecting him to die, proving that Eggman was no longer just a comedic villain, he was a true threat. Even still, this game added a moment of humanity for Eggman near the very end. Eggman always admired his grandfather, but after the events of the last story, he questions himself about his Gerald's ambitions of destruction. If Adventure 2 truly had been the final Sonic game, this would have worked as a conclusive touch, leaving to our imaginations the possibility of Eggman retiring from villainy altogether. Sonic X brought Eggman into the world of anime, and while his personality remained just as theatrical as ever, the show leaned even harder into his comedic side. This version of Eggman was still a major threat to Sonic and his friends, but he also had plenty of lighthearted moments. One of the most touching things that Sonic X did for Eggman was highlight how he doesn't actually hate Sonic. Sure, he wants to take over the world, but deep down, he seems to enjoy the rivalry. And of course, this is where we got one of the most iconic Eggman memes of all time, Eggman eating a banana. But when Sonic entered the next-gen era in 2006, Eggman would receive his most bizarre redesign yet. Sonic 2006 was infamous for many reasons, but one of its most unsettling changes was Eggman's redesign. For the first time, the developers decided to make Eggman more realistic, and the result was deeply unsettling. Instead of looking comical, he looked creepy. But Sonic 2006 was a disaster, and Eggman's weird redesign didn't stick. In Sonic Rider's story, while Eggman didn't care about the race itself, his real goal was to get his hands on the Babylon Garden, an ancient floating civilization with powerful lost technology. As always, his plan backfired. By the time the dust settled, Eggman was outplayed by both Sonic and the Babylon Rogues. However, Eggman was also available as a playable character, and in 2007 he would enter an even bigger competition, one that would pit him against Mario himself. The Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games series gave fans something they had dreamed about for years: Sonic and Mario going head-to-head in an official crossover. Naturally, Eggman wasn't going to miss out. He joined Bowser as one of the primary villains turned athletes, making for a hilarious sight as he took part in sprinting, swimming, and even gymnastics. Eggman's shirtless swimsuit look became an instant meme, as nobody had ever expected to see him rocking a bare-chested beach look. Eggman wasn't done with sports yet. Eggman took his rightful place as one of the All-Stars Racing Series' most iconic racers. Eggman had always been about building machines to challenge Sonic, but here, he proved that he didn't just rely on robots. He could step up and drive himself. And while this game wasn't a major turning point for his character, it kept his legacy of being a multi-talented villain alive. Sonic Boom completely reimagined the Sonic franchise, and Eggman was no exception. This version of the character leaned fully into comedy, making him one of the funniest interpretations of Eggman in history. Voiced by Mike Pollock, who had already perfected the role, Sonic Boom's Eggman was less of a world-dominating villain and more of an incompetent but lovable rival. He would challenge Sonic one day and then invite him over to watch TV the next. Sonic Boom may have been divisive, but this version of Eggman was universally loved and still fondly remembered. In the IDW Sonic comics, after suffering a major defeat, Eggman lost all memory of being a villain. Now, going by the name Mr. Tinker, he became a kind, gentle inventor, using his intelligence not to build war machines, but to help people. He lived peacefully in a small village, creating devices for the benefit of others, rather than for destruction. For the first time, we saw what Eggman could have been if he had chosen a different path. Of course, it didn't last. His memories were eventually restored, and Eggman returned to his villainous ways. But for a brief moment, we saw a side of him that was never possible in the games. In December 2024, Sonic Movie 3 hit theaters, marking Jim Carrey's return as the Doctor. This time, Carrey took on a dual role, also portraying Robotnik's grandfather, Gerald Robotnik. Carrey's performance was widely praised, with critics highlighting his ability to balance the eccentricity of Dr. Robotnik and the gravitas of Gerald. His portrayal brought a dynamic energy to the film, reminiscent of his earlier comedic roles, while also delivering a nuanced depiction of the complex relationship between the two characters. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 not only showcased Carrey's versatility, but also solidified his portrayal of Dr. Robotnik as one of the most memorable villain performances in recent cinema. The film's success has left fans eager to see how Carrey's character will evolve in future installments of the franchise, if he does return. And just as menacing as Eggman is his greatest creation, Metal Sonic. As we prepare for Sonic Movie 4, click this video before it disappears to discover all of Metal Sonic's various versions and transformations.